It's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here is your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette. I am Moses, and welcome to episode 802, your Predraft 2020 edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as our Seattle Seahawks get ready to take on the NFL Draft. So please keep your hands inside the moving vehicle at all times, put your tray table up and your seat back into the full upright position, grab a desired beverage or city of your choice, and just so you know, it's feeling a bit drafty in here today. We have a skeleton crew of a posse this evening, but that's all right. They still are better some posse than no posse. Reasons. Yeah, for quarantine reasons. First, there is our new sound Shadow Hawk. Social distancing. Shadow Hawk Will. Hi, Will.
Hi, Moses. How are you?
Well, much better. It's been quite a trivial start to the show, but we're here.
Yeah, I hear you.
How are you holding up? Okay.
Doing okay. Survived a trip to the grocery store today and didn't have to cut anyone for toilet paper this time, so we're all good.
Not this time.
You were so brave.
Not this time. Not this time. And the man saying so brave is, of course, Dustin. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. How y'all holding up? How's Kona? How's the kids?
Everybody's all good. Kona's got a vet appointment next week, so we'll see how that goes. Last time she tried to bite the vet, so fingers crossed she's calmed down a little bit.
Bad Kona.
Yeah.
Don't bite the hand that feeds or the hand that heals.
Yeah.
You know, any one of those. So, I know it's kind of a crazy situation for everybody right now. Have talked to Matt from Merry Old England and Statsman Mark. They cannot be with us. I think they're busy washing their hands. I don't know. But in all seriousness, Matt does a lot with over in England with getting information out about the self-isolation for his area. And he's been working nonstop for a long time over this a few weeks. And Statsman Mark, I talked to him just a couple hours ago. He's doing fine. We certainly hope all you are doing fine. We hope you're self-isolating as much as possible, keeping the curve down as much as possible, flattening that thing down so we can all get back out to what we love to do, which is go out and see some Seahawk football, hopefully. But I guess time will tell about that. It is actually the 176th episode of this show, believe it or not. We'll keep doing this until we get it right. And speaking of this show in particular, gentlemen, let's get to it. Fat Tony.
Very well. Let's do this thing.
All right, let's go. This show is run like a real NFL football game. We have 4 quarters and even a halftime. First quarter will be Will with the news. Second quarter will be, we'll look at the Seahawk free agent losses that we've had up to this point. Some Seahawk players that have been signed with other teams. At halftime, of course, is the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. I refer to 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Of the world.
Of the world. Who won last week? That show.
No, I don't remember.
I think it was Dustin.
I'm pretty sure it was Dustin.
Yeah, it was Dustin.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going with Dustin.
He'll go with it. Dustin looks, one-on-one tonight with Will. That's what she said. Quarter 3, we'll talk about
that's not what anybody said.
No, nobody said that? All right. Matt will verify that later. Quarter 3, Seahawk gains, free agent gains. Some of the guys the Seahawks have signed. And then quarter 4, Will and I will go at it with our annual 12-Man Fan Jam Show Draft Challenge, where we both try to decide what the Seahawks are going to draft on draft day, which is coming up this Thursday on the basement of Roger Goodell, I believe. So before we start, we'd like to remind you, like, share, subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join us on our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We'd like to do a lot of things in the offseason on there. We're also on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Email 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, if you like podcasts and you want to download this show, you can download it off Podbeans and iTunes. Take it with you wherever you want to go. Before we go to news, I just have some things to share about my idol, and I think everyone's idol this time of year. And there's only one person I got to talk about, and that's Mel Kiper. And, Mel Kiper's one hell of a guy. He's just a son of a bitch, that Mel Kiper. You guys know Mel Kiper? You know Mel Kiper, don't you, fellas?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mel Kiper.
Mel loves his scotch. He's a hell of a draft expert. You know, Mel Kiper is the grandfather of my son. It's true. He showed up at the church in his golf pants, caked in mud. Well, Old Mel Kiper pushed the priest aside and said, I'll baptize that piece of calamari. Pours scotch all over my baby son's head and says, there, you're baptized. The Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper. Did I ever tell you the time Mel Kiper sold me into slavery? It's true. He put me on a ship to Thailand, and I'm chained to a pipe, and meanwhile, Mel Kiper, he's back in the States siring 3 beautiful children with my wife. I hate Mel Kiper. I gotta respect him. The Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Hey, did I ever tell you about the time Mel Kiper showed up at my daughter's wedding? You know, she's beautiful, my daughter. Anyway, he's standing right between me and my daughter at the ceremony. He's got no right to be there, but he's drunk and he's Mel Kiper. Well, long story short, priest accidentally marries me and Mel Kiper. We spend the weekend in the Poconos, and he loves me like I've never been loved before. You know, Mel Kiper served 3 tours in Afghanistan to Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
You guys ever go camping with Mel Kiper? Of course you have. You're not a man if you haven't gone camping with Mel Kiper. I went camping with Mel Kiper and his wife and his daughter Debbie. Debbie, she's about 7 years old. And I'm in the back of the pickup with Mel, and there's a live deer back there. And Kiper grabs the deer by the antlers, looks at it and says, I'm Mel Kiper, damn it, say it. And he squeezes the deer in such a way the sound comes out of its mouth that sounds like Mel Kiper. Wasn't right that, but it was pretty damn close and good for a deer. To Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
I once saw Mel Kiper eat a whole live chicken. Mel Kiper once gave me a videotape of him having sex with my wife. It was the most beautiful damn thing I've ever seen. To Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
To Mel Kiper. And now, to news. Yes, the 12-Man Fan Jam Show news report. It is our Shadowhawk Newshound Will. And this week's sponsor is Mel Kiper Hair Cream. If you'd like to look on Dracula on the Day Pass, try the Mel Kiper Hair Cream. Will, what you got for us?
Well, Moses, this is going to be one of the more unusual drafts in recent memory, since it will all be done virtually, meaning that we won't have to wait for fans to stop booing Roger Goodell before he makes every single pick. But, there's always the possibility that things can go wrong. So the league is trying to work the bugs out sooner rather than next Thursday. According to Tim McManus of ESPN.com, the league is holding a mock draft session on Monday to make sure that the teams in the remote offices are able to communicate picks and arrange trades smoothly. Hopefully, no team is dumb enough to draft on Monday the guy that they want next Thursday, but who knows?
That would be so funny, but go ahead.
A league spokesman says that teams can stop the clock if a team is struggling to get a pick in on time. Three separate team individuals are able to submit the pick. So if there's an issue at one person's house, 2 other team execs could submit, league spokesman said. If a team is experiencing technological issues, the player personnel department would be in a position to stop the clock to ensure a pick is submitted or a trade occurs. So we will not have a situation like the Vikings that one year where they pass.
Love that moment. My favorite draft moment, maybe.
Yeah, same here, but considering everything that's going on this year, I'm kind of glad that we won't have a repeat this time.
Yeah, I agree. It should be quite an interesting draft on Thursday from Roger Goodell's basement. I have toyed with the idea of getting on Zoom and getting everyone's reactions to the draft picks, but I think we'll just have an after draft show. That's what our after draft show is for. So we'll just probably do it on there. But it should be interesting to see how this all works next Thursday.
I'm curious about the logistics of the whole thing because you said like if there's an issue at one house, they can't get the pick in. I mean, how are they doing this? They're having like their kid call somebody at the other house to let them know they're having issues.
I don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be very strange. And the thing is, I think it'll be strange for like the first round, and then we'll just fall into it. And something Little Mo said I thought was interesting. He said he thinks that the 4th, 5th, and 6th round, there are going to be some real gems in there because it's not like the other drafts. So he thinks there'll be a lot of people drafted 4th, 5th, and 6th round that are going to wind up being like Pro Bowl players because of the way it's set up here. It's kind of not really inducive of a lot of trading and talking amongst ourselves. So,
well, I tell you, Moses, and I'll kind of dip into this more in the fourth quarter, but we don't know anything about what players teams are interested in this year because usually by this point they've had 30 player visits and combine workouts and pro day workouts and everything. We don't have any of that this year.
Right.
So there's going to be, the first round, we know a bit more about team needs and who's going to be on the clock. But you start getting into day two, there's going to be some real surprises. And I think Little Mo's right. Guys are going to drop. Some guys are going to get picked way earlier than anyone thought. It's going to be fun.
Part of that is the NFL doesn't have all the information either because they couldn't make those visits and they can't get the medical information and stuff like that.
Right.
It's gonna be kind of crazy. I think it's gonna be fun to watch when the time to pick is the shortest, which is what, 6th, 7th round.
Right.
When they're just struggling trying. I mean, there's no way there's time for trades. They're gonna struggle to probably to even get the pick in at that point, depending on how they're because there's gonna be issues with the technology.
Right. I think there'll be a lot of trades like between the days.
They really need to get a Zoom setup of Jets fans so we can get footage of them booing after New York makes their pick.
That would be spectacular.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, Little Mo's not too bad. He learns from the best, which is you guys. What else you got for us, Will?
Well, Moses, a little good news because hell, we need any.
Yes.
It's kind of a rough time for high school and college graduates this year because, all their schools are shut down. They don't get to physically get their diploma and have a graduation. It's all being done virtually. But, schools and colleges are trying to do the best they can with this. And University of Central Florida is one of them. They're having a virtual graduation ceremony for more than the 8,600 students who are expected to receive degrees, which is apparently the most graduates of any university in America.
Wow.
But the reason why I am bringing this up is to announce the speakers giving the commencement address. That would be none other than Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin.
Beautiful.
Doing the address for their old alma mater. So
isn't that nice?
These guys get to speak at their college graduation this year.
That's pretty awesome. There was a recent video that was put out, and I know it's probably months ago he did it, but have you seen Shaquem talk to a little girl about how he lost his hand?
No, huh?
Yep.
Okay, well, he talks to this little girl that did it hurt when you lost your hand, and he's standing right next to Shaquille, and it looks like after practice, doesn't it, Will? I don't know where it is. They're on a football field.
Yeah, I thought it was, but I don't know.
And he says, he's so animated, and he says, well, my brother here was getting attacked by a shark, and I went over and said, hey, and this girl could have been more than 5 or 6. He said, hey, stop picking on my brother. And I stuck my hand over there. And the shark got a hold of my hand. And I said, you can take my hand, but leave my brother alone. And just going on and on. It was so cute.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it was really cute the way he described to that girl how this shark took his hand, but he saved his brother's life. And Shaquille's just had a big grin on his face,
That's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful story.
You were talking about favorite draft moments, but when we drafted Shaquem Griffin,
that's up there.
That's definitely way up there. That was just too perfect.
I've never cried at a draft before, but I tell you what, it hit me.
That's probably my favorite draft moment. No, definitely my favorite moment with those two, and then probably the close second was when they both got that sack last season.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Which should have set up the game-winning touchdown.
Which could have set up the game-winning touchdown. That moment, and my son, I was watching it on this. I was watching it on the computer, and he was playing his game on the TV. So he wanted me to know if they drafted him, and I remember thinking, man, if they don't draft him here, it's not going to happen because he's not going to fall any farther. And then they did, and I just fell apart. And I had to tell my son between cracking voices, I'm like, they drafted him, because I was like, I'm crying, and he comes over, and we were both like, oh, this is so great.
It was definitely a feel-good moment.
Oh,
the one time in my life I stood up and cheered over a 5th-round draft selection.
Amen. And how can you not root for these kids, these gentlemen? They're not kids; they're gentlemen in every sense of the word. So, that's very cool about them giving the commencement speech at UCF. Very, very cool. So, well deserved, gentlemen. Thank you, Will.
You're very welcome.
All right, we'll end the first quarter here.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
Coming up on this pre-draft 2020 edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show, we will discuss Seahawk free agency so far, the gains and the losses. But coming up first, we do our losses. But before we go to commercial, self-identification, I should say, we at the 12-Man Fan Jam Show would like to take a moment and extend our heartfelt condolences to the friends and family of former Seahawk quarterback Tavares Jackson, who was lost to us last week at the age of 36. And he was a hell of a ball player for Seattle, a team leader, a tough guy in every sense of the word, and what I heard, a great locker guy. And so we are deeply, deeply sad to hear the tragic passing of Tavares. He was 36. Rest in peace, and thank you for all you did in Seahawk Blue. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
That's the fact, Jack!
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Hey, it's the second quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We are so glad that you are self-isolating with us during this program, and we hope that you are all staying safe and flattening that curve, which is what we're all trying to do as we eat and eat and eat. All right. We're going to talk about the Seahawks losses.
Who knew flattening the curve would turn into Battle of the Bulge?
Very well said. Very well said. We're going to talk about the Seahawks losses, players that have signed with other teams in free agency so far. And we'll start with Dustin. Dustin, who's the player that you're kind of sad to see go?
Just from a pure kind of a fanboy standpoint, I'd say George Fant. Just because it's fun having him out there, and now we're never going to see that jet sweep to George Fant. So
we'll never see the jet sweep. Oh, how sad!
R.I.P. to that idea.
That's just sad. That's the worst part. But valuable in that he could play both right tackle, left tackle, and came in and really did a nice job when they brought him in. Mr. Tackle eligible himself, George Fant. Went to went to the Jets. $30 million for 3 years. That's a lot for him. And congratulations, George. I don't know if $10 million is quite worth it, but he got it, so it must be worth it.
It's worth it to him.
Yeah. Will, your thoughts on George?
And it's going to be weird going to a game and not hear number 74 has reported eligible. 74 is eligible.
Right.
It's funny. I went up for the Kansas City game that year, and that's the one time that somebody was hurt. If Eddie or somebody was hurt. It may have been Brown. And he had to play tackle the whole game. I never heard it once.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah, it was like every other play.
Yeah, I know. How sad.
Pretty close.
Will, who you got your eyes on? Somebody you like to talk about that left us?
I got to go with Quentin Jefferson. That's a guy I liked ever since we brought him in. Versatile, can play from the end, play from the tackle. Not a superstar, obviously, because we really didn't have any on the defensive line last year. But just a good, versatile guy, someone you really want to have in the rotation. And it's valuable depth that now we have to replace. So I was kind of hoping we'd be able to bring him back, but I guess not.
Yeah, that one's kind of sad from the standpoint that he's 27, I think, and I thought he had you're right. I thought he contributed. He was a contributor. You look at people that contribute. This guy did, and it's too bad because we are going to miss him. And I agree with you there. Quentin Jefferson is definitely a loss. Along with Al Woods, Al's 33. But I thought Al Woods had a really solid year for us last year, really did a lot of good things. Just so tough against the run on the inside and just really disruptive from his position at defensive tackle, I felt. The other guy that we lost that we really haven't talked about, and I don't know how you all out there feel about Jermaine Ifedi being gone. But when I heard the news that Chicago signed Ifedi for a 1-year, $1 million contract, well, there was only one thing I could do, and that was celebrate, Dustin.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was ready for that team to go.
For all we rank on Ifedi, though, I was honestly shocked to learn that he got so little money.
I know. And then they're going to move him to guard.
Actually. He was a starter for most of the time here.
Yeah, yep. And they're going to move him to guard.
That was surprising. Al Woods thing. Yeah. Back to Al Woods a little bit. We definitely missed him in the playoffs. That was unfortunate what happened with his suspension.
Yes.
But if we would have brought him back, though, his suspension, missing the playoff games, apparently doesn't count. So he would have had to serve his suspension in this season, too. So that might be part of that decision.
That might be part of that decision.
Go away.
And he's 33. Let's be honest.
And
He really helped us, but he's 33.
And if he had gotten another suspension, that one would have been for a year. So
yeah.
But I'm glad he was here, and he's kind of a journeyman. He's been at a lot of different teams. So
he's got a cool story. I don't know if you guys have listened to the interviews with him on, I think it was on 710 ESPN, but he like owns a farm somewhere, and he goes and farms in the off season and stuff. He's pretty interesting dude.
Really? Did not know that.
Yeah.
See,
I'll see if I can find it online. I'll send it to you if I can find it.
The things you learn on the 12-Man Fan Jam show. The story of Al Woods and his farm.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. E-I-E-I-O, right?
Yeah, his dad like runs it when he's gone.
We're not out of the woods yet. I got that one. Hey, wake up! We're not out of the woods yet.
We're out of wood. He's
Hold on a second.
He's somewhere else.
Wake up! Out of the wood. Thank you. The drummer was. I'm sorry. That guy is definitely in preseason form.
Well, he's on Zoom, Dustin. Dennis. I mean, he's maybe he's just got a bad connection.
He does. Hey, do you have a bad connection? All right, thank you. All right, he's back. And we'll be back after this. I guess really it's time. That was a short version of our losses, but is there anything that we forgot there, guys?
No, I mean, I think we could have counted Fetty's loss as a gain, but that's about it.
Well, we can decide that later. But for now, let's go to halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime.
Oh, we got so much show ahead. Halftime trivia.
A shower head
and draft challenging. Hey, who in the hell's Mel Kiper anyway? Here's the guy that criticizes everybody, whoever they take. He's got the answers to who you should take and who you shouldn't take. And my knowledge of him, he's never ever put a jockstrap on. He's never been a coach. He's never been a scout. He's never been an administrator. And all of a sudden, he's an expert. Hey, forget him. It's trivia time. And that is next.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another fine edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
of the world.
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Will and Dustin. And attention, everyone, here are the rules.
So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-Man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
All right, you gentlemen know the rules. You can ask the kids once for every round. The topic is Seattle gains and losses. Seattle's gains and losses. So that will be kind of the topic in a way, as you know. Since there's only 2 of you, there will be no second round. So you only get to ask the kids once. And since Dustin won last time, Dustin, you get to pick. Dustin, are you odd or are you even?
I'm going to go third. Is there no third?
All right.
I'll go first.
I feel like I'm back teaching again. Odd or even? Third. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go odd.
You go odd.
And I'll get even.
Dustin is odd.
There
Dustin,
you go.
your first question is about a guy that I can't pronounce. Cedric Obechi. Is that how you pronounce it? Anyone?
Ogbuehi.
Thank you. Cedric Obechi. Cedric went to the same high school in Texas as what NFL quarterback? Drew Brees, Andy Dalton, or Kyler Murray? Dance!
No, I'll say Kyler Murray. He's kind of popular right now.
Okay. I didn't say popular quarterback. I just said NFL quarterback.
No, but he seems to be on everybody's mind, so he might be on yours as well.
Kyler Murray? Oh,
Yeah.
That's nice. My daughter said Drew Brees. My son said Andy Dalton. You said Kyler Murray. Yes!
There we go.
Kyler Murray, you're on the board. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Now it's time for Will. Will, question 2 is about, well, it's about a guy whose last name is Shell, but it's not about him. It's about the Shell Oil Company. And what year was the Shell Oil Company founded?
What?
1908, 1912, or 1918? Shell Oil Company.
Okay, you're reaching with this one.
I am. Well, didn't they pick up a guy? What was his name? Shell?
Brandon Shell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brandon Shell. There you go.
Defensive tackle.
So there's a rhyme to this. The reason. 1908, 1912, or 1918? Shell Oil Company.
I'll go 1918.
Why not? Lil Mo said 1918. Does that make you feel better?
Not really, no.
No. Alexis, I'm sorry, Mosette said 1908. You said 1918. No, I'm sorry. It was 1912. 1912.
Ah.
Okay, Dustin, you're up 1-0. Number 3, your question is this. Is about Bruce Irvin.
I know him.
Yeah, how many career interceptions does Bruce Irvin have? Career interceptions, 1, 2, or 3? How many career interceptions for Bruce Irvin? 1, 2, or 3?
I think it's 2. I'm going to go 2.
I think it's 2. Well, both kids said 3, and you said 2. It is 3. Sorry. Yeah, so still 1-0.
He had a pick 6 when he was here the last time.
Yeah, I think he had 2 here. Will, your question's about B.J. Finney.
Okay.
This is a Matt question. B.J. Finney attended Kansas State University. In what city is Kansas State University located? Lawrence, Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas, or Wichita, Kansas? Kansas State. You ever been to Kansas State, Will?
I have not, but I think it's in Lawrence, Kansas.
He has not, but he thinks it's in Lawrence.
I'd go with Lawrence too. I'm pretty sure that's where Sam and Dean Winchester are from Supernatural. So,
well then, how can you go wrong?
yeah.
Mosette said Manhattan. Little Mo said Lawrence. You said Lawrence. No, that's Manhattan, Kansas. Lawrence, Kansas is where Kansas University is. This is Kansas
You need to do
State.
your research, Dennis. Manhattan's in New York.
I know. I was kind of shocked at myself.
First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin.
Still 1-0 as we go to the final 2 questions for both of you. Dustin.
Yeah.
Chance Warmack is playing for us now. Chance Warmack's younger brother transferred from Alabama. Where did Chance Warmack's younger brother transfer to from Alabama? The University of Illinois, the University of Michigan, or the University of Oregon? Chance Warmack's younger brother. Did he transfer to the University of Illinois, the University of Michigan, or the University of Oregon from Alabama?
Well, I'll say Oregon. Maybe that's part of the decision for Chance to sign with us is to watch his brother play.
Oh, and wouldn't that be sweet?
Yep.
Oh, that's adorable. Little Mo said University of Oregon. Mosette said the University of Oregon. Everyone said the University of Oregon. Yes!
Nice.
The University of Oregon. And you're up now, 2-0.
I know.
Pressure's on, Will. Hey, Will.
Yes?
We got Philip Dorsett during the pre-agency. We'll talk about him
We
third
did?
quarter. Yeah. How many receptions does Philip Dorsett have in his career in 2 Super Bowls? He played in 2 Super Bowls. How many receptions does he have both Super Bowls combined? 0, 1, or 2? receptions in the Super Bowl for Philip Dorsett? 0, 1, or 2? He was in 2 Super Bowls.
I'm going to ask the kids.
Okay. Little Mo said 0, and Mosette said 2. Nobody said 1.
2, please.
2, please. You figure 2 Super Bowls.
Miss you, Matt.
Yeah, you do. Because it's wrong. He only had 1 between the 2 games. So I think it was the last time for like 19 yards or something. All right. It's still 2-0.
Yes.
Dustin, here's your next question.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. Al Woods signed with the Jaguars. How many different NFL teams does that make? Al Woods has played for in his career. 5, 6, or 7. How many different teams has he played for? 5, 6, or 7?
I'll say 6.
He'll say 6. Little Mo said 7. Mosette said 6. You, my friend, you said 6.
Yeah, I was leaning towards 7, but I said 6.
Yeah, you should have said 7. Here we go. Now he's done some of these twice, but different teams. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. So as do now is go to Houston. He's got the whole
That guy
division.
can't keep a job.
No. And some of those, he did 2 stints with us. He did 2 stints with Pittsburgh. So that's kind of weird. All right, it's 2-0. Will, you're still in this.
Okay.
Here we go. And this question is about all of our favorite former Seahawk, Jermaine Ifedi. So you know it's going to be a good one. Jermaine Ifedi.
How many false starts Jermaine Ifedi? No.
In what city was Jermaine Ifedi born? Arlington, Texas, Dallas, Texas, or Houston, Texas?
Well, the guy's a huge Astros fan, so I'm going to go Houston.
Oh, is he? How do you know that?
I just remember from, I don't know.
From somewhere.
The knowledge is amazing on these guys. Both kids said Dallas.
Well, I was going to say, biggest disappointment would be Dallas, I think. So I would say he was born in Dallas. That would be my guess.
Both kids said Dallas. Little Mo said who cares, but I got an answer out of him. He said Dallas. You said Houston, right?
I did.
Okay. Well, guess what? Yeah, it's 2-1.
Nice job.
2-1 as we go, which means there'll be no overtime, which makes me a little happy. Dustin with 2 points and Will with 1, but Will, don't worry. You know why? Final question.
Question.
It's a final question. Final question, high and low. Closest without going over gets the 2 points and becomes reigning champ of 12-Man Fan Jam Show until we have our next show in a couple weeks. There may or may not be a decimal involved here, which I know Dustin loves to hear, but
That's bullshit.
Will go first and Dustin will go second. Are you gentlemen ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yepers.
All right, here we go. Questions about Quentin Jefferson. How many career sacks does Quentin Jefferson have, Will? And you can have 0.0 or 0.5. That's all you can have on the decimal. So it's not that bad, Dustin. How many career sacks does Quentin Jefferson have? Will's first.
I'll go 9.5.
Will goes 9.5. Dustin, how many sacks do you think Quentin Jefferson had?
I don't think it's that high. Maybe 8.
Maybe 8. 9 or 8.
And notice I did not use a decibel.
I noticed that.
Or a decimal either.
Yes. You didn't use a decibel or a decimal.
Nope.
Or a decical, whatever that is.
Yeah.
You didn't
I
use
don't want
anything.
to know what that is.
You just a straight number, a 9 and an 8.
I said 9.5.
Oh,
so.
9.5 and 8. I apologize. How many career sacks does Quentin Jefferson have? 7.5.
Ah.
Ooh.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle time. Congratulations, Dustin.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have defended your title well, my friend.
Nice work.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Always a good time. Short and sweet, but that's the way we like it sometimes. So I hear.
That's what she said.
I've heard somebody say that once. Hey, what an amazing, crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning, and clean edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
of the world. We'll be right back with the second half of the show after this. Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, and the other one. Take us out. There they are.
You forgot Splinter.
I forgot Splinter. Splinter, take us out, buddy.
Turtle power.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
All right, it's the third quarter of your draft episode of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Congratulations again to Dustin defending his title. Well done, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it. Way to ask those questions, Dennis.
Hey.
You rocked it.
Thank you. You always thank me when you win, but then when I lose, I suck. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Funny how
you
that
guys should
works,
see the
isn't
text threads after that.
Yeah. Well, you gave a valiant effort at the end. Just came up a little short.
Well, there's always next time.
Yes, there is. We are going to talk in this quarter about our free agency gains, players that we've signed with the Seahawks, some re-signings, some signings from new players. Will, who's a player that you really liked the Seahawks when they signed? You thought that was a really good pickup?
Well, we mentioned him briefly in trivia. I'm going to go with Finney, BJ Finney.
Oh, good.
Has done well playing guard and center. Reason why I'm saying him is because if Seattle does go ahead and either re-sign Jadeveon Clowney or sign Everson Griffin, or make a trade for somebody like Yannick Ngakoue, basically we're going to need to make a little bit of room. And one of the chief ways we can do that is by cutting Justin Britt. I love Britt. He's done well for us, but he's got a pretty high cap number, and we may need that money. So, if that happens, Finney becomes a prime candidate to slide over and start at center for us this year. So, it could end up being a really big pickup.
You know, he's played over 100 games at or over 100 snaps at left guard, right guard, and center, which is amazing, which is really, really valuable. Most of them at left guard, most of them at left guard, a few at center, and then just a few at right guard. But that makes him pretty valuable as far as he could play all those. And for what I hear, Pittsburgh, there just wasn't room for this guy. I mean, they have a pretty amazing offensive line in Pittsburgh, and he just wasn't being able to crack their front line. So I'm with you there. This could really mean maybe an opportunity for them to cut some cap and bring in some high-priced free agent out there. Clowney, maybe, who knows. But yeah, I agree. That's a good pickup. Dustin, what are your thoughts on BJ Finney? Have you thought about it?
Not really, but
Okay.
I'm glad he's here. Just for the same reasons that Will was saying, actually, because I knew that Britt might be a cap casualty because of the things that are going on with whoever high-priced edge rusher we bring in. So having some depth at the linebacker, at the center position besides Joey Hunt is a good thing, in my opinion.
Yes, agree. And Ethan Pochik, who actually was a center at LSU. So I know he's kind of
Solari doesn't
struggled.
seem to like him, though.
No, he struggled, but maybe he hasn't really played center yet. So that might just be his spot. Who knows? I remember when Britt struggled a lot, and we put him at center, and I'm like, okay, this is for me. This is it for this guy. If he doesn't make it here, then I think we need to cut bait. But then, of course, he turned out being an amazing center. So, so we'll see.
Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. Dustin, who's a free agent signing you'd like to talk about?
Well, I might be bending the rules a little bit here, but he's not really a free agent, but he was acquired via trade. I'd say Quinton Dunbar.
Good call. And why Quinton?
Well, we were low on our par level with Quinton's because Jefferson left. We needed to get another Quinton in there to take his place.
Good
We
point.
need another Quinton.
Yep.
All right, there it is. He's awake now.
We're gonna need another Timmy.
But he's a good cornerback, and he actually draws some comparisons to Sherman, just size and build and whatnot. And that's the type of guy that we want to have in our system.
Number 2 last year, if I'm not mistaken, on Pro Football's rankings, PFF's rankings.
Pro Football Focus. Yep.
Yeah. So that's
pretty amazing. He's got the size and length and all that. So
the only thing with him, I guess, is health, from what I hear. But it's got to help.
He'll fit right in.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that's a great signing. Well, what did you think of that signing or that acquiring of him, I guess?
Oh, it's a great trade for a 5th-round pick. Gives us some flexibility after this year too, because this is Shaquille Griffin's last year under contract. So if we have trouble bringing him back, we can keep Dunbar. If Dunbar leaves, we've got another year out of development, hopefully out of Trey Flowers. So hopefully he can step in and be a little bit more solid. So it's just. Yeah. It's a no-lose situation for this year, really.
Yeah. And some other guys that we haven't talked about. I'd like to talk about some of the re-signings, or not re-signings necessarily, but players that have been here before that are back. But before we do that, Philip Dorsett gives us 3 receivers in that I saw a stat where if you put the 40 time of Metcalf and Dorsett and Lockett together, Lockett is now the slowest receiver of the 3. Which is pretty mind-boggling because he's pretty daggone fast. And if that's the case, we've got 3 burners now at receiver, and that's pretty good. And I know that Dorsett was good enough for the Colts to get traded for a quarterback, and that wound up being Brissett, almost 1-to-1, I believe. Dorsett went to New England for Brissett. And so that tells you how much they thought of him. And I think he's got a 4.33 40. I think DK had a 4.33, and I think poor Tyler's at a 4.36. Isn't that awful? Or 4.35. But we've flat out with those 3 now, some amazing speed to stretch the field a little bit for that running game. I want to talk a little bit about the guys that come back. Luke Wilson was re-signed, which is wonderful. Great locker room, great guy. Didn't really contribute a whole lot when he came back, but I think he has a lot to offer. I really like Benson Mayowa when he was here before. If I remember right, Will, he was here when we had like 10 really good defensive linemen and we had to cut some people. And he was just one of those cuts. I'm like, these guys are going to play somewhere else. And he did. I think having him is going to be really nice. I really like the Bruce Irvin deal. I think the Bruce Irvin guy that we're getting now is better than the one that left us. I think he's more experienced. I know he's a little old. He'll turn 33 in November, but I still think his best time of playing is right now. And I think we're going to get the best Bruce Irvin than we've ever seen. And I personally just really like the guy. I like to use his story of his life as an inspiration to kids I work with. So I'm really, really happy to see Bruce come home. I know it's something that a lot of fans are happy about, and I join that as well. So to Mayowa and to Luke and to Bruce, welcome back into the fold. We're glad you're back. Some of the guys we didn't talk about that were, Brandon Shell, we didn't talk about. These guys could all contribute. A lot on the line. We re-signed Ayupati as well just recently, which was nice. Chance Warmack. Jerron Reed was another guy that we re-signed.
At this point, I'm pretty sure we have about 32 offensive linemen.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think they're taking the whole like spaghetti type strategy where they just throw it at the wall and whatever sticks, that's what you're going to keep.
But didn't we do that his first year here when it came to receivers? Remember, he brought in Terrell Owens and he brought in a couple guys that were past their prime supposedly, but he had like 8 receivers that, big name receivers, and you just kind of threw it to the wall and see who stuck. And I think he kind of did that. He kind of does that with position of need, it seems like. Mm-hmm. And apparently this tells me that he knows that our offensive line has got to be better. And he meaning, of course, Carroll. That our offensive line has got to be better and play better. And if nothing more,
I'm glad they figured that out.
Help. And the competition is going to help if nothing more.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting approach, though, if you look at it, because this is actually a pretty good draft class for offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. And yet we're going out and bringing in low-cost veterans to battle it out. So
we're also going to draft 5 offensive linemen. So.
Well,
no, we're not.
Speaking of the draft, it's funny you bring it up, Dustin, because Will and I just happened to make a list up for that draft. And
checking it twice?
We checked it twice, and we'd like to go to the fourth quarter and tell you who we think is going to be naughty or nice.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right. It is time for the fourth quarter, and that means it's time coming up for Will and I to go head-to-head in our Seahawk 12-Man Fan Jam Show Draft Challenge. You're listening to 12-Man Fan Jam Show, washing our hands over and over and over and over and over and over. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
If there's a better use for the internet, I haven't found it.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Hey, it's the final quarter, episode 802, your pre-draft 2020 edition of your 12-man Fan Jam show. It is time now for Will and I to go mano-a-mano, as we do every year before the draft, with our 12-man Fan Jam show NFL Draft Challenge. Here's how this works. We have taken the Seattle draft picks, and we have picked for draft pick. Now, Will has done some trading. That's allowed. Here's how this works. If a player is drafted by the Seahawks in the round you say they'll be drafted, you get 3 points. If a player is drafted by the Seahawks, just not in the round you say, you get 2 points. And if a player that you say the Seahawks are going to draft gets picked up as an undrafted free agent, you get 1 point. And last year we tied, did we not, Will?
We did.
Yeah, I got Jazz Ferguson, and who did you get?
Some cornerback whose name I can't even remember at the moment.
Yeah, and Jazz went on to play for one of the defunct leagues, the Alliance, I think, or the XFL. I don't know.
XFL.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to let Will go, and then I will show you. I will share my clearly superior list after his. But Will, go ahead and amuse us with your draft, your mock draft for the Seahawks for this year.
Okay, Moses. Well, to do my mock draft, I went to Pro Football Network and did their mock draft simulator, which if you have not done before, it's a lot of fun. You get to pick any teams you want, as many rounds as you want. You get to make trade future picks. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good way of figuring out who may be available. So, like Dennis said, I did make 2 trades. Because we know John Schneider is going to trade down out of the first round, so I did the same. I traded pick number 27 to Carolina for their second and third round picks, 38 and 69. And then when I got to the third round, I traded pick number 69 to Denver for pick 77 and pick 178. So I traded down in the third round and got a 5th round pick for it. So gave me two extra selections. So anyway, here we go. Our first pick is early second round, pick number 38, Josh Uche out of Michigan. He defensive end. He very athletic guy. Has great edge speed. Tall, lanky guy, good length. Little undersized for a traditional defensive end, but good size for what Seattle looks like in the Leo position. So. Good nickel rusher to start with, hopefully developing into a starter.
I like the name Uche. It could be Uche Scooche, which is nice.
No worries. Pick number 59 in the second round. There are 2 guys that if either one of them drops to us at this pick, I'm going to be ecstatic. One is Isaiah Wilson, who's a guard out of Georgia, and the other is the guy that I picked, Brandon Ayuk, wide receiver out of Arizona State. This guy is a yards after catch monster. He's all about the yak. I mean, he's a playmaker. He can take a small reception and turn it into a big play. So if he's available and we bring him in, you put him in a 4 receiver set with Dorsett in the slot. You got Lockett and Metcalf on the outside. That's a lot of weapons for Russell Wilson to play with.
Yeah.
Last pick in the second round, I go back to the defensive line because I love this guy. He's a physical freak. Jabari Zuniga, defensive end out of Florida, has great explosiveness off the snap. It's good rusher. Just really good ability, real good athleticism. Just this guy's going to be a great pick. You could rotate him in with Uche at the Leo position, or you could put him in the 5 technique on the other side and rush both of them at the same time. Okay, third round with pick number 77. This one I'm getting Devon Hamilton, defensive tackle. Yes, another defensive lineman out of Ohio State. Hamilton is a big run stuffer who gets a lot of push, actually, in the pass rush game. He's not really a pure pass rushing defensive tackle, but he's a guy who can collapse the pocket. Looked really good in the Senior Bowl and the Seahawks like Senior Bowl players. That's why we got L.J. Collier last year. So this is a guy who could come in, replace Al Woods, and not only be stout against the run, but wreak some havoc in the middle of the offensive line.
Hey, real quick here. I hope that if we do pick him, that they say, the Goodell, who'd you pick, man? Davon Hamilton. The Seahawks picked Davon Hamilton. He's a defensive tackle from Ohio State, but just you wait. Just you wait. Sorry, go ahead. Little Hamilton for you
It's
there.
all good.
Yeah, that's how good I sing. That's why I don't sing. Go ahead. Sorry.
Lin-Manuel Moses here. But okay, with our last pick in the third round, I'm going Matt Hurt, offensive tackle out of where'd this guy come from? UConn. Sorry. This guy, he's a bit of a boomer or bust project. He didn't play football until his senior year of high school. Needs time to develop, but at UConn he played both left and right tackle, 24 games at each position. He's got the physical traits, got the intangibles. Needs a little work, but this is a guy if you can develop him, he can not only step in at right tackle in a year or so, hopefully, but potentially you have a replacement for Dwayne Brown at left tackle. So late on day 2, worth the risk, I believe. Fourth round.
Hold on. You know why Matt didn't play football? I know he didn't play till senior year. It's an interesting story. His uncle's Neil Peart of Rush, baby. Little Tom Sawyer for you. That's why he didn't play, because he was drumming with his uncle Neil. Okay,
that would do it.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all good. Yeah. Fourth round, I ended up with a couple of Washington Huskies. Every time I ran that simulator, these guys were available in the fourth, and I just had to go for it. Hunter Bryant, tight end out of Washington. Now, this is a guy who doesn't really have the blocking skill, but he's more of a move tight end. He's an athletic, pass-catching tight end. Gives us what we had that last year with Jimmy Graham, what we had in flashes with, I'm totally drawing a blank here. The guy we had last year that we got from the Patriots.
Hollister,
thank you. So, yeah, Bryant is a guy, gives Russell Wilson another weapon, pair him up with Ayuk and our other receivers, and suddenly we're giving defenses fits.
Wow. Nice.
Second pick in the fourth round and second Husky in the fourth round, Nick Harris, center out of Washington, of course. Was a 4-year starter, been at center the last 2 years, got a good blend of smarts, technique, and agility, great temperament. Doesn't have the ideal NFL measurables, but this is a guy you plug in there and he just gets it done.
Nice.
So potential long-term answer at the center position. Into the fifth round with the other pick that I got from Denver. This would be, hang on one second, James Robinson, running back out of Illinois State. So this is a guy who built the way Seahawks like their running backs, 5'9", 220. Doesn't have the blazing speed, but he's a workhorse. He always gets positive yardage. He's got the vision to find the holes and the determination to plow through them. This is a guy, I look at him, and he reminds me a little bit of Chris Carson. So
nice.
With Carson in the last year of his deal and having injury issues, and who knows when Rashad Penny's coming back, we need to bring in another running back, and this guy's on the board, and I think works for me. Good. And then with our sixth round pick, which is our last one in the draft, I picked up Chappelle Russell, linebacker out of Temple. He earned, I don't know if you know how much about Temple, but if you have to be a very special player to earn a single-digit jersey number at Temple, which Russell did. This guy, again, more depth, more developmental prospect, but this is He has good quickness, good instincts. Good guy worth taking a chance on late in the draft. So
Nice. I like all of those. Do you think Nick Harris's pick would be contingent on Justin Britt being around, or do you think they pick him anyway?
I think if he's still on the board at a certain point, they pick him anyway. And of course, I made these picks with the roster the way it is now. We could go and sign Clowney, sign Griffin,
Right.
trade for Ngakoue, do all
Right.
three. But
Yeah.
as it stands now, this is what I went with. So.
Very nice. Very nice, Will. Always good. But as usual, 100% incorrect. You see, Will does his due diligence on his list. He researches, he compares, he watches film, he goes through draft simulators. Me, I just go for the name that sounds cool. So here's my mock draft for the 2020 Seattle Seahawks. And I didn't make any trades because I just don't even know how to start doing that. So we're just going to go with what we got, which is a 1, 2 2s, a 3, 2 4s, and a 6. All right. Round 1 is a dedication to Matt from merry old England. Matt, I know you're listening. And I know Matt got really upset one time when he ran out of T. Well, don't worry, Matt, because in the first round, we're picking up a wide receiver from Clemson, and his name is T. Higgins. That's right. Enjoy your
That's
tea.
a super British name.
Yeah.
It really
Higgins.
is.
Would you like some tea, Higgins? Oh, yes. God save our queen. T. Higgins, everybody. Jolly good. First round pick. And I can leave this going because my first second round pick is an Albert, like Prince Albert. All right, enough. Be quiet.
That means something different in America.
Our first second round pick is a guy named Albert Bungham, which I don't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He only has 12 letters in his last name. Albert Bungham. It's a tight end from Missouri. I just want to see that name on the back of a jersey. I just think it'd be cool.
The new Hushman's Auto.
And then I could continue in round 2 because I've got my T and I've got my Prince Albert. Yeah, go ahead, sing a little bit. Because in round 2, second pick, I'm picking Prince Tega Wanago, an offensive tackle from Auburn. So we have our T, we have Albert, and now we have Prince Tega in the first 3 rounds, and Matt would be so happy at that point. So I did those with Matt in mind. All right, enough. Shut up. Round 3 is a dedication to one of my favorite free agent acquisitions of the Seahawks ever. This was a guy that played safety for the Seahawks, and he played for the Bengals, and he came over to Seattle, and he was the absolute punisher. Actually, it's a true story. Back in the 90s, they had those little electronic, they like keychains, only they were animals, like pets that you took care of. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Kamaguchi or something?
Yeah. So I got one, and I called it Daryl after Daryl Williams. Well, round 3, Daryl Williams, spelled the same way, Darryl. Daryl Williams, offensive lineman from Mississippi State, is my 3rd round pick because Daryl was one of my favorite Seahawks. So I got to go with Daryl Williams. He wouldn't wear 31 though, but that's okay. So shout out to Daryl Williams if you're out there, buddy. I love you, miss you. And I had a little pet dog on my thing called Daryl. On my thing, that's not a bad. Round 4.
Hello.
Two round 4s. The first one is a guy named Oluwole Batiku Jr. No, he's a junior. He's an edge from Illinois. Oluwole Batiku Jr. I just like the name Batiku. And then in the 4th round, second pick, we go with a little bit of some Moses information here. We have a little bit of heaven because we're going to draft Michael Divinity. And so Divinity will be ours, an edge rusher from LSU. That's my second, 4th round pick. And then my final pick is maybe my favorite pick, not just of this draft, but maybe my favorite pick of all time. About 2 months ago, maybe earlier than that, my son, who I call Little Mo on the show, but his real name's Jacob, and our last name's Nippenberg, if you don't know, and there you go. He comes to me and his eyes are as big as, he says, Dad, we've got to get this guy. There's a quarterback in Northern Colorado. I kid you not. The 6th round pick will be Jacob Knipp. K-N-I-P-P. Jacob Knipp. Named after my son. All he's missing is the Nberg at the end of his name, and he would be exactly my son's name. And I told my son, if this kid gets drafted, we're buying a jersey. That's all I'm saying. So how better could that be than Jacob Knipp, to have Jacob Knipp on the team? So that
I gotta say, Moses, I still think your all-time best was the defensive lineman whose name was actually D. Liner.
Oh my God, yes. How better? How much? I mean, come on. And didn't we both get Poona Ford? You had Poona Ford, and I took him off my list, and then we wound up getting him because I drove a Poona Ford growing up. But no. So that's my list. And if you listen to this for, God bless you. And if you want to join our challenge, I'm going to put these lists on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page for all to admire and laugh at on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, the 23rd, which is just the day before the draft. And if you want to add your mock draft under our draft challenge thread, we might let you tell us what to say on the next 12-Man Fan Jam Show if you beat one of us or both of us. So why not? Join the fun on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. Look for the NFL Draft Challenge sign. And I'll put both of our drafts underneath there and on Wednesday, and you'll have about 24 hours to join us if you'd like. You've gone this far in the show. You might as well finish it. Make your own draft. Who cares? Right now, it's a 1, 2 2s, a 3, 2 4s, and a 6. So if you want to just do 7 names, that'd be awesome, or 8 names or whatever. We'd love to see what you think of the draft. But right now, I guess it is time, guys, to bring another wonderful and amazing 12-Man Fan Jam Show to a sad close. We're so glad you decided to waste some time with us. We hope that you enjoyed yourselves. We hope you're being safe. We certainly hope you laughed a little. Maybe you learned a little something along the way. I don't know what we all learned. The thing I learned is that Mel Kiper is a real son of a gun. That's what I learned. So on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, who's not here, our news hound, Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, who's also not here, Dustin, that's the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, Mike Pascal, Mark, Ty Turner, Jose, Tom, Mel Kiper, Mike Mayock, Chris Berman. This is Moses saying until next time, as always, go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Mel Kiper! To Mel Kiper!
Mel Kiper!
Mel Kiper!
Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper!
And all the guidance, guys. Stay safe, stay clean, wash your hands, social distance. It'll make a difference.
And don't touch your face. Let me do that.
No, I don't want you touching my face either.
So disappointing.
They say don't touch your own face. They never said anything about touching somebody else's face. From 6 feet away.
Come on over, Will. Come on over. I got long arms, buddy.
That's not a no.